The city was drowning. A slow, endless rain had been falling for days when I moved into my new apartment. I'd lost my job a couple of weeks back, so I needed somewhere cheap, somewhere quiet, to figure things out. The real estate agent who showed me the place, he smiled a little too much. "Great soundproofing," he'd said, as I signed the lease. "You'll sleep like a log here." And for the first few nights, he was right. The apartment was small, but it was clean. Simple gray walls, polished wooden floors, and a huge window that looked out over the glittering, rain-slicked city. I loved how the sound of the storm muffled everything, creating a cozy bubble of silence. But then the dragging started. It always began at midnight on the dot. A slow, heavy, scraping sound, like someone was methodically pulling a heavy piece of furniture across the floor, right above my bedroom. This went on for 3 nights straight. On the 4th day, I went to check the building plan they had taped up behind the fire exit door. I traced the layout with my finger. There was my unit, 14A, right at the top floor. There was nothing above me but the roof. I decided to ask the building manager about it. "There's no 15th floor," he said, barely looking up from his newspaper. "It's an old superstition. The numbers just skip from 14 to 16. I tried to explain what I was hearing, but I heard movement, like furniture being dragged. He just shrugged. "Old pipes, thin walls, you'll get used to it." But I didn't. That night, the dragging was back, only this time it was louder, more deliberate, and it was followed by something new. A faint humming sound. It sounded like a man's voice, low and melodic. I grabbed my phone and started recording, holding it up to the ceiling. My heart was hammering in my chest. When I played the recording back, my blood ran cold. The humming wasn't just humming anymore. It had resolved into a low, raspy whisper, and it was saying my name, Mara. The next day, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the emergency stairwell and started climbing. I counted every landing out loud. 13, 14. I reached my floor, but where the stairs should have continued up to the roof, there was just a blank concrete wall. I was about to turn back, defeated, when I decided to just run my hand over the surface. My fingers brushed against something cold and metallic. It was a doorknob, almost perfectly camouflaged against the gray concrete. The door had no label, just a small, rusted number plate screwed into the wood, 14B. On a whim, shaking, I took out my apartment key. I slid it into the lock. It clicked open. The air inside was stale and heavy. I stepped in, and a wave of vertigo hit me. The layout was an exact mirror of my own apartment. The same furniture, the same wide window, the same tiny kitchen, but all the colors were wrong. Everything looked faded, washed out, as if all the life had been drained from it. It was like looking at a photograph that had been left in the sun for far too long. Slowly, I crept toward the bedroom. The door was slightly ajar. I peered through the gap, and my breath hitched in my throat. On the bed, I saw me. I was asleep, wearing the same clothes I'd worn the day before, which were now folded on the chair in my real room. My phone was charging on the nightstand, just like mine. But there was something else in the room. A figure was standing over my sleeping form. It wasn't human. Its body was contorted at impossible angles, its long limbs bent backwards. Its face was a terrifying, shifting blur, morphing between the faces of my neighbors, my old co-workers, and even strangers I'd just passed on the street. Then it turned its head, and its shifting face seemed to lock on to me. I didn't scream. I just slammed the door shut and ran. The hallway outside seemed to stretch on forever, longer than it should have been. Every door I passed now had my name on it. I sprinted down the stairs, not stopping until I burst back into my own unit, 14A, slamming and locking the door behind me. I stared at my reflection in the hallway mirror. My face was pale, my eyes wide with terror. I just slid down to the floor and sat there, shaking, until the sun came up. When the building manager came by for a routine inspection later that day, I frantically tried to explain what I'd found. He just gave me a strange look. He showed me the stairwell again. There was no door. The wall where I'd found Unit 1 for B was just smooth, unbroken concrete. He suggested I was working too hard, that I needed some rest. That night, the dragging sounds started again, right on schedule, but this time, I didn't try to find its source. I just laid in my bed, frozen. I grabbed my phone and opened up the security camera app I'd set up earlier that day. The feed showed a live view of my bedroom. There I was, sleeping peacefully under the covers, still and quiet. And then, from the darkened doorway of my own room, another version of me stepped into the frame. She was smiling, a wide, unnatural grin. She walked slowly towards the camera, her eyes fixed on it before reaching out a hand to turn off the light. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more creepy tales. Stay safe out there.